This is The Top, where I interview entrepreneurs who are number one or number two in their industry in terms of revenue or customer base. You'll learn how much revenue they're making, what their marketing funnel looks like, and how many customers they have.
I'm now at $20,000 per talk.
5 and 6 million.
He is hell-bent on global domination. We just broke our 100,000 unit sold mark.
And I'm your host, Nathan Latka.
Okay, Top Tribe, this week's winner of the $100 is Rich Jones. Okay, Rich Jones, he is stuck in corporate. He wants to break free. He's binging on the show. For your chance to win $100 every Monday morning, simply subscribe to the podcast right now on iTunes and then text the word Nathan to 33444 to prove that you did it. Nathan Latka here. This is episode 581. Coming up tomorrow morning, you're going to learn from Calvin, the CEO of Simplero. It's a SaaS company with a team of just 2 people, but guess what? It makes $1 million per year, and it's totally bootstrapped. This is what I mean why it's way more important. Don't worry about being a unicorn. Hit singles and doubles. Calvin is doing it, and boy, is he getting rich because of it. You don't want to miss tomorrow's episode. Good morning, guys. Nathan Latka here. Our guest today is Russ Heddleston. He's the CEO and co-founder of DocSend. Previously, he was a product manager at Facebook, where he arrived via the acquisition of his startup, Pursuit.com. Russ has also held roles at Dropbox, Graystripe, and Trulia. He received a BS in computer engineering and an MS in computer science from Stanford, along with an MBA from Harvard. Russ, are you ready to take us to the top?
Absolutely.
Very good. Well, thanks for joining. Tell us first real quick. So you arrived at Facebook via Pursuit. What did Pursuit do?
Pursuit was a system for human resources to manage their referral programs for employees. And so it was a very smart way of tracking and understanding who's making referrals, where those people are coming from, and helping companies just manage that whole process more effectively. And after running that for a little over a year, we shopped it to LinkedIn and Facebook and decided to go with Facebook.
I appreciate you being transparent there and saying kind of you shopped it. A lot of people say you never want to sell your company. What kind of made you guys decide to go through that, if that was truly an intentional process?
It was. We looked at our own numbers, and the theory that we had a hypothesis we wanted to test it. We got 40 companies signed up for the service, a few thousand users, and then the numbers just weren't looking like we wanted them to.
Can you give an example, Russ?
Absolutely. So we would look at how many people were being referred, and we figured out that they were going out of band. Like those hires were happening, and then we were like, why? And then we kind of dug into the psychology of what we're doing, and without it being a separate podcast, basically decided that some of our assumptions were incorrect in our product, and that to change those assumptions would be a huge process. And we were just kind of out at that point. We'd been doing it a little over a year, raised about $500K.
Okay.
And Facebook's one of our first customers. So we went and talked to them. We talked to LinkedIn about, just like joining them. Yeah. And you're right. We totally decided to sell the company and to shop it around. So that just made the most sense for us.
Would you say a soft landing, talent acquisition, more or less?
Oh, yeah, for sure. The assets of the company weren't acquired, but we were all incredibly happy with the outcome.
So you were product manager at Facebook. What product were you on?
I was the product manager for the Pages team. So anything with a like button on it that's not a human being, like a profile. So that's a pretty big swath of what Facebook does is included under Pages.
And you said you're working with the personalities versus the brands, or the brands?
Brands and personalities both have Facebook pages. So both of them have likes. You can't add them as a friend. And at the time, it was a very small team at Facebook. And I got to have a great experience being there and growing that team out significantly over a couple of year period.
So let's jump into DocSend now. So what year did you make the decision to leave Facebook and start DocSend?
We started DocSend in 2013. So it's over 3.5 years ago now that we started the company. And the very first version of it was something that came from an insight I had while I interned at Dropbox while I was in business school in 2010. And that is that sending attachments is just really not a great way to go. It just brings up a lot of problems. So we wanted to come up with a system that worked well for businesses to send documents as links and not attachments. And there are a few properties that we really wanted that were just missing from all the other systems out there around security and tracking and being able to update things and just insight in what is happening when I send content or documents out to people. And so the first version of DocSend was just that. That's just what we wanted. Very simple, easy to use system, sign up, get going, just hit the ground running. And we launched that at TechCrunch Disrupt in 2014.
And what was, because usually this is an embarrassingly low number, which is obviously fine, but do you remember what your first year revenue was? If it was above zero?
No, we didn't charge any money for the first year, so it was for sure zero.
Got it.
And we were just focused on growth. You couldn't pay us money if you wanted to. We launched the product and we just wanted to see what happens. Where does it go? Who looks at it? Like who's using it? And so we launched it. We saw a good spike. We saw a nice growth after that. And we were really digging into the numbers around like who is using. And it wasn't Facebook-like growth numbers. Like if you look at a consumer company versus a B2B company, it was clear that what DocSend was doing was a very high value, but it wasn't going to be a Facebook size in terms of like user count. We just aren't consumer. Everyone is using DocSend for a business application. But what happened in that year is that we took a hard look at everyone using DocSend. For instance, people use it in fundraising all the time. If you ask any venture capitalist about DocSend, they'll be like, yes, I get all DocSend links now. And that was really nice for us. Unfortunately, that's not a great business to be in. So we looked at some of the other cohorts of users that we had. Just other use cases.
That sample, so that use case is not a good use case for you.
That's right. You can't build a big business around. It's
like
that.
One time, right?
Yeah, exactly. After a few months, they successfully raised
and they're done.
And they're gone, or it didn't work, which is unfortunately.
You need a transaction fee on that, right?
Right. Yeah, this would be great. We actually did get approached by a hedge fund about buying the company, and that would have been awful for everyone. But I thought that was flattering in a way, I guess, that they were like, we've seen so many of your links that we would like we would like access to your data. And like, no, security and privacy are obviously paramount to us. But in any case, that wasn't a great use case. What we saw was that salespeople do use DocSend, and they use it kind of forever.
Yep.
And salespeople are kind of similar to people fundraising. You're both selling something of high value. You have to have assets that describe the value that you're bringing, and you're trying to get a transaction done. And there's a lot on the line. So you want to make sure that the up-to-date thing is always seen. You want to understand who's looking at it, who cares, who doesn't care.
So Russ, if we fast forward, I assume you have revenue today, right?
We do.
So what is when you turned on pricing, give us kind of a snapshot, January 2017. We won't talk about every plan, so just give us an average. What's the average customer paying you per month?
It's broken out in tiers. So there are basically two businesses we have. One is the self-serve business. You can still come to DocSend and you can still sign up and pay us $10 a month.
Okay.
And that's great. Please do that. It's an awesome product. What we found was that we need to go after bigger teams, and that the problem we solve is even more pronounced at large sales and marketing teams, where marketing doesn't know what content sales is using, and sales has a really hard time just finding and sending the content they need to close deals. And so all the tracking is involved in that, but it's kind of a multiplayer game that we play. And so that's the enterprise plan we have, and that's where we make most of our money today.
More than 80%?
It is
do you see 80-20? Do you see 80-20 kind of rules here?
That's right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's especially when we look forward to the next year as we go up market and sell bigger contracts. We used to be 20-80, and now 80-20 is a good rule of thumb in terms of what we look at. We don't focus on the self-serve inbound stuff anymore.
Got it.
It's more targeting outbound deals.
And for that 80, Russ, for that 80%, so what's the average there? We have a lot of listeners that are in this space, right? Salespeople, and they're going to be going, hey, should I try DocSend or not? Give them a sense of kind of the average price for an enterprise.
It totally varies based on the size of team we target. So we've run this experiment where we target really big companies, like 100K plus deals, and looked at how long those take. And we've targeted really small deals, and we look at how long those take. We actually haven't found that it's a big difference in terms of time between. We go by the number of salespeople using the product as our
so
proxy.
What do you charge by that, Russ? Is that same no matter the size?
It varies. No, it varies between $50 and $90 per user per month, depending on if there's screen sharing, if there's Salesforce involved in there. I think it comes out to around like $70 or $80 a user a month. Mm-hmm. So let's just say roughly $1,000 a user a year. We, for our outbound, only target teams of 30 and above. So that'd be about $30,000 a year, an annual contract value for that. We found that like selling to a team of 10 is the same amount of time as selling to a team of 30. And if you have outbound, it's expensive. And so, it needs to make sense. if you get up into the hundreds of salespeople, the time it takes to get that deal closed goes up significantly. So when you ask, like, what's your average annual contract value, like any outbound company, the answer is it depends on who we're targeting. And we can target various size. It's interesting because Dropbox has had a similar experience where they've gone way up market and they've closed some of those big logos, and then they've pulled back looking at how long those take and just kind of the cost benefit there.
Give us a sense of what your economics look like on that sales process. So like what's your total team size currently, and what percentage of those are salespeople?
The total team size is around 25, and it is just 6 salespeople.
Okay, 6. Great. So what, call it a fourth. All right, good. And you guys are all based in San Fran?
We have 1 in New York and then 5 in San Fran. Okay,
got it. Sorry, no, your total team. Are most of you guys in San Francisco?
Oh, other than the one guy, yes, everyone's in San Francisco.
Okay, good. Yeah, you got your New York hustler going out there closing deals, right?
That's right. You got to have the feet on the street.
Yep. Very good. And okay, before we talk more kind of about product and why links are more important than attachments and things like that. So you launched in 2013, focused on usage. When did you introduce the pricing plan?
We introduced the pricing plan, I think in actually a year later, almost exactly a year later from when we launched. So it was in like March or April of 2014.
Okay. And if we fast forward to January 2017, whatever you care most about, whether it's seats or logos that have seats under them, how many of, you pick which one, how many of either of those do you have?
So we actually have over 2,800 paying companies right now.
Okay.
And we have, that's a fraction of the total number that are using DocSend. But among those 2,800, I really care about a mix of logo and seat count.
Okay.
And the reason is that if I actually don't even know off the top of my head which brands I'm allowed to
don't say any then. But on average, all those 2,800 paying companies, how many seats per company would you say on average?
Well, no, it's bucketed between ones that are just a few. We don't really care a lot about them. And then amongst the 10 or above, I get really excited when it's like a team of 50 or more salespeople, because that's a really interesting sale to get done. There's a sales ops person involved. There's a content marketing person involved. The sales and the marketing teams need to work together effectively. The complexity of that sale really goes up. So the teams of 50 or more that we get locked into DocSend and actually buy into the value prop, that for me is really exciting because it feels like a whole different product, a different sale, a different company than what we launched in 2013, and the economics are way better.
Yeah. So your target is obviously teams of 50 or more, but if you just a total number of users on your platform right now that are under a paid plan is how many?
Oh gosh, I don't know off the top of my head.
It's definitely above that.
And definitely, I mean, it's definitely above 10,000. I would guess.
Got it. Cool. So that's good. That's good to understand. And then walk us through some more of the history here. So bootstrapped, or have you raised capital?
We've raised capital. We've raised about 10 million in venture capital, and then another million in venture debt. So around 11 million in total.
Happy about that, or do you regret it?
Oh, no, super happy about that. August Capital led the A round. Howard Hartenbaum is on our board. He's fantastic. Jeff Clavier from SoftTech led our seed round, and he's on our board, and he's also fantastic. I think it's a team sport. I have a lot of admiration for the companies that bootstrap it and get it there. I think for us, having access to those networks and having access to that help has been really helpful for us. Even just having board meetings every couple months is just great to check in every once in a while, look back, get an outside perspective, and make sure you're on track. So I've been very happy with the investors that we picked to partner with.
And Russ, you said that was 10 million total raised?
11 million total, including venture debt.
Okay, got it. Yeah, that's a lot of folks are kind of. When did you tack on the venture debt? Was it as part of your Series A?
No, it was post Series Seed.
Post Series C. Okay, so it's kind of like you almost use it like a bridge between Seed and Series A.
Yeah, actually, after we took on venture debt, I wrote a blog post about it. I mean, there are some very important things to keep in mind with it, just around the ratio of venture debt to money in the bank that you have. It's really a insurance policy, and it extends your runway a little bit, but it can really come back to bite you depending on like a few different scenarios happening.
Covenants and things like that.
Well, obviously those sorts of things, but even if you get like a pretty good term sheet, just the way venture debt is structured, It will extend your runway some in some scenarios, but it's also kind of scary in terms of just the rights they have over you. And anyway, something to be used in some scenarios.
Russ, if you Skype me that link, we'll link to that in the show notes so people can check that out. It sounds like you got some valuable stuff there. Okay, let's pull. So I'm going to pull some of this math forward real quick. Okay, so $70 ARPU, you said at a minimum of 10,000 seats. So it's fair to say you're doing above 700 grand in monthly recurring revenue, right?
I can't talk about our revenue.
Okay. That seat number, though, and the ARPU number, those are basically averages, right? It's the minimum.
Tell me why
that math would be wrong, Russ. You told me earlier $70 ARPU was average, right? And you definitely have more than 10,000 seats. So why would you not have more than 700 grand in revenue monthly?
The number of companies that are paying for it range between $10 a month and basically $100 a user a month. And so there's quite the split there between the ones that are just coming in and self-serve and then the larger ones that we go afterwards. So yeah, that split is not something that I would like to talk about.
Well, you articulated it was basically 80-20 though, correct? In
terms of the new stuff coming in, yeah. And the historical stuff, I don't know what it would break out into in total.
Okay, got it. So basically what you're saying is that $70 ARPU number, that's really on your cohort of folks you're newly targeting, right? Which are more kind of enterprise level. That's not a reflection of the total 2,800 customers you have currently, which a lot of them are probably self-serve at $10.
Many of them are, yes.
Yeah. Okay, good. I just want to get a minimum number, Russ, just so, and we don't have to talk about how big you are, but let's say a minimum is 10, right? Times 2,800 customers, right? So you're definitely doing more than 28,000, or sorry, and there's 10,000 seats. You're definitely doing more than 100 grand in monthly recurring revenue. We can put a baseline on this, correct?
You know what? I could, but I don't really see the benefit in it for me at this point. Talking about, you're putting together the math correctly.
I'll let audience. You guys can do the math. The reason, Russ, I think this kind of stuff is important is because it's rarely talked about, and when people can understand some of these numbers, it helps them better understand strategies they could employ in their own businesses. Right? Maybe they consider venture debt if their economics look similar to yours, or if they don't look similar. So thanks for being transparent.
Sure. Two things to note on that are important. When we look at our legacy business around inbound and self-serve, sometimes companies get that right and you just take off at an incredible rate and you're like, wow, this is super exciting. You've got to be growing at 20% a month with that type of number for that to be like, we've made it. And you
Wait, with what kind of number? The self-serve stuff?
Just the self-serve inbound. Yeah, because that one's hard to influence. What's exciting about Outbound is that you control the destiny of that. And so what was exciting for me is when we got to the point where we can sell $50,000 a year deals. And we can do that in a minimum amount of time. And then it's really just a function of scaling up your sales team. The trick is not to do that too early. And the trick is to understand specifically what's going into that being successful and asking the question, can that scale? And so that's why I say in terms of new revenue that we make, having that be 80-20 is pretty exciting for me, especially in terms of building out our sales team this year. And they really are two separate businesses. So when you ask questions about like the mix of the two, I'm like, it's not even something I pay a whole lot of attention to.
Yep. In other words, you're not looking at an average across your entire customer base. You're definitely splitting out at a minimum into two cohorts. One is self-serve, one is enterprise, probably more cohorts than just that.
There are more cohorts than just that, but at a rough one, I get excited about the larger teams that are using us for slightly different reasons than the people who are using us for their fundraising or for other individual uses.
Churn is critical in these kinds of businesses. If we just focus on kind of your enterprise cohort, what is your gross customer monthly churn and how do you manage that? What kind of utility are you trying to drive, daily so people stay sticky?
Yeah, so we haven't lost a team of greater than 10 salespeople from DocSend. That's just churned. So that's really exciting to me.
Over your history, your life.
Yeah, over our history, our life. And the reason is that once a team adopts a system that connects sales and marketing like DocSend does, even if sales wants to get rid of it, marketing doesn't want to get rid of it. The marketing decides to get rid of it, sales like, no, we need that. And so it's hard to get the adoption, but it's hard to get rid of it as well. And that is a really attractive property for us. The churn in the self-serve stuff is super high, but our
what is that, Russ, though? Quantify that. 5% monthly, 10% monthly?
I don't know off the top of my head
what
high
it is.
Mean? But what's high mean? Well, like those numbers are certainly high that you gave me. And the thing that matters there is the net promoter score that we get. And people are really happy with it. They're like, oh, I love DocSend. But yeah, of course I'm not going to pay for it anymore. I don't really need it now, but I might use it again later this year. And so for me, that's great. It's a nice product. They like it, but it's not a great business characteristic. I think what is it? 1% monthly is kind of a general target for companies to aim for. If it's much above that, then pretty worrying.
Have you hit kind of the magical net negative revenue churn just because your expansion activities are really working?
Oh yeah, in the enterprise,
Yeah,
like we
just the
haven't
enterprise
had a customer churn yet of 10 or larger seats, and they mostly expand. There have been a couple contractions, and when that happens, I feel bad for the company. It's like, oh, that's really rough to have to cut part of your sales team. But it's only happened a couple times.
Is that where is most of your expansion is literally when your salesperson's on the phone with that company? Are most of the expansion kind of benefits around team size, or is it they're expanding revenue because they're getting additional reporting features or things like that?
It's around seat count. Namely, was I think one of the, like a company where there's individual salesperson who signed up for DocSend, and then the rest of the team has since just really adopted the whole thing and brought it on. So DocSend has grown as Namely has grown, and that company has been doing incredibly well.
Doesn't that feel good?
It's great. I'm really happy for them, and I'm really happy for us. And then they can see the value in it. And as the company gets bigger, our product becomes stickier with them, which is a really nice characteristic for us.
Hey, Russ, last question before we get into the final five here. When was that last round of financing that you raised? When did you close that?
We closed that a little over a year ago.
Okay, so you're either right now raising your next round, or LinkedIn's about to give you a $100 million acquisition offer. Which one is it?
We don't have to raise more money at this point if we don't want to. That's the other really nice thing about doing larger enterprise sales in terms of controlling your own destiny. And the cash up front characteristics of it are also pretty attractive.
So you guys are profitable. You're not burning cash.
Well, we still have cash in the bank. We're not profitable. And there's also cash flow profitable and like accounting profitable.
Yeah.
I'll just leave it at that. We are not currently fundraising, and we don't currently need to get acquired. We're just very focused on growing our business, which is really the most fun part of it.
Okay, Top Tribe, as many of you know, I sold Heyo, and everyone is always asking me what my expenses were when I was building Heyo. Well, a big expense was that I spent over $3,000 per month on financial services to keep me out of trouble in terms of taxes. You know, my mom would always harbor me, Nathan, you gotta keep all your receipts and put them in a freaking box or something to make sure you don't get an audit or things like this. I'm like, Mom, I'm a millennial. You think I'm gonna keep all these receipts? I now use FreshBooks. I use their mobile app to take a picture of receipts, and it makes taxes a cinch. Additionally, I don't have to hire a $3,000 per month person to manage all my finances. It's like saving so much money, and my mom's happy. Additionally, I don't waste a bunch of time creating invoices. I use their templates, and I can avoid using Word templates or Excel files. I just use FreshBooks to quickly send out invoices, and it works like a charm. To get your free first month, go to nathanlatka.com/FreshBooks and enter the top in the How Did You Hear About Us section. Again, go to nathanlatka.com/FreshBooks and enter the top in the How Did You Hear About Us section. I'll quickly, guys, pull a lesson out just for SaaS entrepreneurs listening, because a lot of people don't talk about it like Russ does. The difference between accounting profitable and cash flow profitable, those are two very different things, especially considering we can pull cash forward from these enterprise deals. So that can make you kind of accounting profitable in some sense. So read into that and study that, obviously, how you see fit. But Russ, thanks for being transparent there. I appreciate it. Let's wrap up. Last 5 questions. These are like cake compared to what I've asked. Are you ready?
Maybe, sure. Go ahead.
I promise. Number 1, what's your favorite business book?
Good to Great.
Number 2, is there a CEO you're following or studying right now?
Oh, the CEO at DocuSign, Keith, is phenomenal. He actually just recommended a book to me, the Regis Touch, that I just started reading, which is phenomenal. I love what he's doing.
Didn't that just get confirmed like today, I think, right? New CEO? Did you read that news?
No, I don't know when that was confirmed. I haven't seen the news on that.
I thought because DocuSign was searching for a new CEO, and I think they said effective this week, Daniel Springer is taking over the reins from Keith was chairman, I think. Yeah. Got it.
And I think interim CEO.
Yeah. Very good. Okay, so you're following him. Good. Number 3, besides your own, is there a favorite online tool you have?
Favorite online tool, man. There are just so many of them. Sales or personal?
What you use the most, whether it's personal or business?
Oh gosh, I mean, other than like Gmail or Slack or Truly Wireless is a new one that I like a lot. We use that for all of our phone calling stuff.
Great. Number 4, yes or no? Do you get 8 hours of sleep every night?
Yes.
And what's your situation? Married, single? Do you have kids?
Single.
Nice.
With a girlfriend who's awesome.
Awesome. No kids, right?
No kids.
All right. And how old are you?
I'm 32.
All right, last question, Russ. Take us back 12 years. What do you wish your 20-year-old self knew?
Oh, 20-year-old self. I guess patience. Do things well and be patient with them, and then they will turn out well later.
Top Tribe, there you have it. Do things well, be patient with them, and good things will happen. Again, from Russ, founder of DocSend, founded in 2013, now a team of about 25 people, mainly based in San Francisco, with one out in LA, or one out in New York, targeting now annual contract values or team sizes of at least 30 or more, ideally 50 or more people. ARPUs, again, in terms of seat sizes, ranging from $10 self-serve all the way up to $100, depending on feature sets and things like that. Raised $11 million in capital last round about a year ago. They really successfully employed venture debt, it sounds like, as well, serving over 2,800 paying customers and over 10,000 seats. Russ, thank you for taking us to the top.
Great. Thank you, Nathan.
If you enjoyed Russ today, go back and listen to Pietari yesterday. He self-funded his company, Vinu, to $400,000 in monthly recurring revenue, and now has over 1,000 customers and helps them get business-to-business leads faster and close them quicker. Top Tribe, I love giving away free money. I feel like Oprah giving away cars, and I have something special for you today. How many of you have heard our super sharp guests talk about success they've had with Facebook and Google Ads? Well, all of you listening right now, yes, if you're listening, you get $100 in free AdWords. Here's how you get it, okay? Again, thanks for listening. Get the free $100 from Google, right, when you sign up with my website host provider, HostGator. Go sign up now to get your free money. HostGator.com/Nathan. Again, that's HostGator.com/Nathan. Okay, Top Tribe, I'll see you bright and early tomorrow morning. And don't forget, before you listen to any other episodes, subscribe on iTunes right now for your chance to win $100 every Monday.